It's springtime again. Time to get outside, start planting those yards, those beautiful flowers, and those landscapes that we all love to have. We're going to show you in this episode of Adventures in Landscaping. We're here with Ellen at Wind Tour Gardens, and what we're doing is she's going to show us some of the beautiful ways that we can make flower arrangements with spring planting, with summer planting. You'll notice we got some trees behind us here. Got some beautiful budding magnolia trees. We got, what are these, Ellen?
Those are flowering crab apples.
Flowering crab apples. What else do we have here?
There's a flowering peach here and some flowering cherries. The flowering cherries are just about finished blooming, but one good thing about the flowering fruit trees is they're always in succession. You've got plums and you've got cherries, and then you have the crab apples and the peaches. So you'll have blooms all spring.
Nice.
Plant them.
Isn't that what we're looking for?
Yeah,
We want
yeah,
color.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than ugly sticks and green with no flowers.
It's true, but this is the time everybody starts waking up and everybody gets excited and wants to start digging and planting.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, by the way, how's Walter?
Walter's great. He's getting big.
Who is Walter, Ellen?
Walter is my new addition to my family. He's the golden doodle of the nursery. He comes in for a visit every once in a while. So.
Is he a little pup?
Oh, he's 6 months old, but he's nothing little about him.
He's gonna be a big.
Oh, he's probably about this tall now.
Are you
Yeah,
serious?
he's a big guy.
Oh, that's exciting. And you're gonna bring him here?
Every once in a while I bring him in. Usually after he goes to the beauty parlor because he's a mess otherwise.
I love it. All right, so what are we gonna do today? What do we have here?
So we have some plants that started coming up out of this for spring. They're just starting to wake up. We've got some Calibrachoas, some Salvia, some Perennials, this Euphorbia. This is going to be a really nice, big, beautiful plant, but right now they're just little starters. The Alyssum is an annual. We're going to plant these pots up. These two pots I kind of got because they're matching, but they're different. So if you have a spot where you need more than one, it's always good to have a variant in sizes and then the colors that kind of tie in together. So we're going to use these plants, and we're going to do a combo where some of, like these ones that are in the 6-packs are going to go in both pots so that they tie in together, but we've got similar colors for each of the pots so that you can put one on either side of the doorway or next to a fence or right by your entryway, and they'll go together.
Well, that's a great idea.
Tie in.
Now, which ones of these are going to come back every year?
So the perennials come back every year, so pretty much everything here, with the exception of the 2 6-packs, will come back. The Alyssum is, it's a semi-perennial. Sometimes they come back and sometimes they don't. It just depends on how cold the winter was.
Oh, okay.
I have some that come back year after year.
Yeah, they kind of pop up on their own.
They'll go to seed.
Okay.
Yeah.
And will they plant more when they go to seed?
Yeah.
Oh, so they'll
drop
spread
seed
out.
and then they'll start popping up in the spring.
Nice. All right, so what are we going to start off with?
So we're going to start off with these guys, and then we'll move over to the shade. This is a pot that I picked out for shade. These are nice bright colors that kind of all go together that are going to brighten up any shady spot that you have in your yard. Okay. All of these are perennial. The majority of them, this one's a semi-evergreen, so it's going to keep its leaves almost all winter long. This one is an evergreen, so it'll have this color all season long. The Ajuga and the Creeping Charlie, those are they're also perennial. They're more lower ground covery ones. I'm going to get into how to layer your pots. So you usually want something tall, and then you want a mid-height, and then you want something that's going to trail down the side of the pot. So I tried to pick out some things for all 3 pots that are going to do that for you.
And those that you said in the shade, those will keep their leaves all winter?
This one will keep their leaves all winter, and this one will keep the majority of its leaves. It's a semi-evergreen.
Okay,
which means it'll lose some of its leaves, but not all of them.
Perfect. All right.
All right, so we're gonna start with this bigger pot. So what I like to do is I like to start with the biggest plants. So always have a garbage can handy. So I like to just pop it out of the can. And then all of this soil up on top, there's no roots on it anyway, so you can just get rid of it. And this is nice, it's not root bound or anything, so you can just kind of straighten out the roots so that they grow into the pot and don't keep going around in circles like they were in the pot. You always take your biggest plant and you want to put it more towards the back. Just kind of nestle it down in there. And then your second tallest plant, basically you're going to do the same thing with it.
Now that ropes it all up to promote, does it promote growth?
It loosens, you don't really want to rip them, you just want to loosen them up, get them from going around and around like they were in the pot. And then you just take off this little bit of excess on top. Because this is all nice, new, fresh soil, and this soil is pretty much used up by the plant already.
It's been there for a while.
Yeah. And then you just kind of get them all in place where you would like them. This is really good. Here, these ones are nice and fresh, so
there's not as many roots, I noticed.
Right.
Wrapped around there.
It's a younger plant. So I like to arrange my stuff out on the table before I plant it, so I kind of have an idea as to where I'm going to put it in the pot, and so then I try to keep that going as I plant.
Well, that's good. I like the idea that you said just take that loose soil, because a lot of times I've planted something and I pull it out and all the soil falls off.
Right.
And I'm always like, oh no, you know what happened? Is it gonna grow? Is it?
Yeah, usually they're pretty resilient. A lot of times the plants won't, they might go through a little bit of a shock depending on the time of the year it is. And if it's like the middle of summer and you're doing a planting like this, maybe start it in the shade and make sure it gets plenty of water, and in a couple of days when it perks back up, then move it out to where it needs to be in the sun.
Nice.
So then we're now gonna use some of these little 6-packs. And these ones are gonna get taller, so they're not tall now, but they will be. And to get them out of the 6-pack, you just take and you squeeze the bottom, and it pops right out.
Oh, that was nice and easy. I've had them come out where all 6 of them come out at the same time.
And so then you want to put these more towards the back because they're gonna come up in between. And I like to sprinkle my 6-packs around so that they're like little treasures that come up in between the other plants.
Oh, nice.
So you just kind of tuck them in.
And they'll eventually get taller than these.
As they grow, they're going to be throughout there.
Nice.
We're going to take half of them and put them in this pot. Stick one back here. A lot of times, most people, when they put their pots out, they'll put them like against a wall or a fence or something. But if you have a spot where you're going to see all the way around the pot, then you're going to want to plant some things in the back so that the back looks just as nice as the front.
Yeah, it's not up against the wall.
Yeah. And so then this Alyssum, this is also an annual, but this one's going to be more mounding and it'll trail down the side. So we're going to put those right here in the front. Same technique, pinching and pulling.
Now, my question, Ellen, is do all these plants take the same amount of water? Is that a concern?
That really is a very good question. You want to pick plants that are going to take the same water and light requirements. A lot of plants will be full sun to partial shade, and that's okay too. Then you can mix some of those plants in with your shade garden, where those will thrive just as nicely as the ones for the shade.
All right.
So this one is a finished one.
Thank you so much for helping us. Hopefully that gave everybody some nice ideas for the springtime planting, summertime color, and a beautiful, simple garden. Not a lot of weeds. Not gonna be a lot of weeding here. So thanks again. And thank you, Ellen and Wind Tour Gardens, for helping us out on this beautiful Saturday. And that's another episode of Adventures in Landscaping. We hope you all enjoyed the first episode of Adventures in Landscaping. For a list of the plants that we used in this episode, check out our description below the video and feel free to subscribe to our channel. There's so much more that we'll be exploring in the near future. So come on back and join us for our next episodes, where we're going to talk about lawn care, weed removal, prevention of weeds and bugs, and how much water and fertilizer to use on our lawns. So have a great time outside, and we look forward to seeing you next time on Adventures in Landscaping.